The debates and discussions are continuing in Guyanese circles on whether the country will benefit from the now emerging oil sector. Would businesses be able to build capacity in terms of local content? Can Guyanese acquire ambitious jobs in the sector and generally gain from this new and valuable resource their country possesses? Closer scrutiny on the ground reveals some facts not yet in the public domain, but actual evidence of emerging success stories, which, if expanded, can move to larger areas of achievement in the South American nation. What has been happening? It has been observed that since the oil companies arrived in the country, a center for local business development was set up in Guyana's busiest area, its capital city, Georgetown. The intention was to register local businesses to provide them with the opportunity to bid on contracts linked directly to the country's budding oil industry. The bigger goal was to foster local content, with notable efforts by the major oil giant ExxonMobil Guyana to do exactly this through the CLBD. Who has benefited thus far from this initiative? Let's take an inside look at one of the companies that has attributed its recent achievements to the work of the CLBD and its efforts at fostering local content. What does this company do? It is involved in information communications technology. Notably, Guyana is a developing country. As such, it would have taken some effort for the company to meet the standards of the developed world. We visited Brain Street and spoke to Lance Hines about his company's amazing experience.
We've been around since 1994. We are an information technology company. We do information technology consulting, software development. We have diversified our offerings into online learning. We also have an animation studio. So that is the range of services that we have been providing all these years. A lot of our specialty has been in government contracting in terms of developing solutions, software solutions for a wide range of agencies. We met DAI, it would have been in early 2016. We knew Mr. Henry from previous projects in Guyana. So there was a relationship of sorts with Mr. Henry, and he had come to us and said that would we like to partner with the AI in this project that they're doing? So we said yes, we'd like to do that, and then the AI won the contract, and this is where we are today.
Mr. Hines narrowed in on some of the efforts made by the company to meet the requirements of the developed world in terms of the project.
From the time we started, there was a clear difference. Certainly we're dealing with Exxon. They exhibited clearly a higher standard in terms of what their expectations are and the deliverables that we had to provide. We also had to show in terms of our ability to do this. So how would we approach it? What kind of process would we use? There was certainly more documentation for Exxon than what we had to do for anybody else in the market. So one of the things that we had to do is really go back and look at our procedures, look at our standards, and make sure that we're up to scratch. So from that perspective, that's certainly a benefit to us, because those are things that we can now apply as we go after other projects of hopefully a similar nature.
The efforts made by Brain Street were not in vain. Amazingly, since working with the local business center to develop the IT portal, more foreign companies noticed the capability of his company. As such, additional international projects have since rolled in.
One of the things that has happened is that because of the happiness with the work done at CLBD, we've been invited to provide these solutions in other parts of the world. So we are very happy about that. It allows us to expand in a way that even though it was in the pipeline to see how we could expand regionally, we certainly didn't foresee being able to move at the pace that we are moving. So we're very happy about that in terms of that expansion. So in essence, kind of moving from doing the work locally to be able to move out into the global space to provide services. So we think that's a wonderful development in terms of our growth and evolution.
While the Brain Street Group has become a success story in terms of local companies gaining international recognition through focus on Guyana's emerging oil industry, other lives have been affected positively career-wise. Meet Shamar Lindy. His job is carried out usually behind the scenes. Shamar played a major role in the development of the CLBD portal via his linkage to version 75, a small technology group of Guyanese between their late teens and 20s who partnered with Brain Street to develop the IT portal. The portal has since been used by several local businesses, which have registered through it and were able to acquire not only closer links to bid for contracts, but many have used the opportunities and guidance by the CLBD to raise their standards. Others have established joint ventures with foreign companies to be able to supply goods and services for Guyana's budding oil industry. For instance, National Hardware, a local company, testified recently that it was the CLBD which assisted it in moving towards a different thought process. This inspired the company to forge a joint business venture with a Trinidad firm to form Guyana Oil and Gas Support Services.
We have a lot more to do. As a company, I recognized that quickly, and I must say that I had help from Exxon's Center for Local Business Development. And we started to put in place the pieces, which is what Concepts and Services also help with. Things like health and safety policies, standards in terms of operations, and the other such mechanisms to really have a company that truly is able to serve the oil industry the way it wants to be served. I encourage other businesses to do a little soul searching and maybe reaching out to the Center for Local Business Development as well, so that they can overcome this learning curve a bit quicker than we did, as the industry was just then starting to push these new requirements.
For Lance Hines and Shamar, the opportunities continue to be endless as work continues on the portal. They both provided advice to persons like themselves dreaming of gaining career and other opportunities in the emerging sector.
The CLBD by itself is in its current construct is fairly novel. What you have is an organization that will sit down and provide specific support for the development and evolution of local content. Also gives you that opportunity electronically via the portal to be able to do the business-to-business arrangements that are so critically here. Now, from that perspective, that is new. And certainly for those who are interested in it, it is an opportunity to go out there. Two things. One, to be able to bid for work that's out there, and two, to get yourself exposed to the Exxon's prime contractors who are out there looking for local businesses to be able to provide services. So it's an avenue for you to strut your stuff, show yourself, it's show what your competencies are. And one of the things we want to be able to pass on in terms of advice is, we started off as local content. We have now to some extent moved from local content to international content because of the opportunities that we had. So that is something that certainly in our industry in particular, we want to be able to show people that it's not only about local content, it is looking at the ability and the opportunity to see whether you could provide services for Exxon and other similar industries outside of Guyana.
Always keep expanding your skills. The more knowledge, the more skills that you have, it will be better for you when new opportunities come, because you'll find new ways to apply them. And pay attention to the details, because you might think that this is something small, but someone may notice that small detail and say, well, okay, this is really good, and they may choose your work over someone else's because of that.
Shamar has an extraordinary talent. And along with Shamar, there are others. There are a lot of youngsters who have a lot of burgeoning talent coming along, especially in this industry. So one of the things that we try to do here, and along with some other sister companies, is to begin to push that talent. So to be able to show people that there is work that could be done here. There was always a feeling years ago that some jobs had to be done overseas. and some jobs had to be done for you. You had to bring somebody in to do things. And I have to say now that that is no longer the case.
Meanwhile, work at the CLBD continues as Guyana prepares for first oil. The successes recorded thus far by the center are numerous.
One of our key accomplishments is that to date, we have over 1,400 businesses on our supplier registration portal. Half of those are Guyanese. And so it is from this list of suppliers that companies will be utilizing in order to get businesses into the oil and gas value chain. So that supplier registration portal is very important. Now, in order to get a contract in the oil and gas industry, you must be registered onto that portal. So that is one of our key accomplishments. In addition to that, how we are helping to build the competitiveness of businesses here at the center is really through training and mentoring.
The resounding advice to businesses was for them to ensure that they register with the center or risk being left behind as Guyana moves ahead into a different but memorable and historical sphere of its economic development.